Assalamu alaikum. Hi. Good morning. I planted this perennial. I get that because the flowers, the names I can't even pronounce them. It's very hard names. I planted on the planter so I don't lose them. Before last year, the year before that, I plant on the ground and I mistake them with, I yank them out. So I decide to plant on a planter and then take them down as a plant, a little plant. So I know where I planted, so I will not mistake a weed to yank them out. Where actually we get to know each other, me and plant. That's the story I wanted to tell you today. Back home, people used to squeeze the tomatoes out of the seed and spread it in the yard. My mother used to do that, and the tomato just comes out. Then you have fruit. Of course, it's Africa. You worry nothing about weather and stuff. Everything is hot, and that's what tomato love is. Tomato love heat. So I had that back of my head. Like everyone like me, we left everything. We left our parents, we left our homes, we left our brothers, sisters, neighbors, classmates, friends, you name it. We left everything. We crossed the ocean. Well, it was meant to happen that way. It's not something we just come up one day and say, oh, I'm gonna, disappear to the other side of the world. No. It was meant to, I guess. And everyone is root where they're supposed to walk in life. It's already set in design. So we came here. Luckily, I had a husband already. My husband and I, we had a house before this one, and they have a big yard too. But I moved into that house after I have two of my kids. So I was so wrapped up with raising those kids, because when you're out here by yourself, you're everything. You're the grandma, you're the uncle, you're the auntie, you're the mom, you're the relatives. You are everything to them. So I decided watching my kids, and their father was working for them. Time go by. I didn't have a chance to even think about plant when I was living in that house. We moved in like it have like so many trees. There was three big tree front yard, and was two big trees in the yard. The closest I got the plant was my neighbor knocking my door one day and saying, hey, Fartoon, I lost a seed. And I'm like, what? She said, I buy a seed, flower seed, and I plant it. I don't know, maybe the rain wash out to your site. I opened the gate for her. I said, go look for it. She find her plant, and she take it out, and she planted on her side, the fence. That was the closest I got to plant. So time continue. We moved from that house. In this time, the kids grow up a little bit. I start working. Now I become more busy than I was before, because before it was just the kids. Now it's like the household, the kids, working. Things was not very, I didn't have a time for myself. So I had the weekend. I have one day the weekend. I go shopping, and one of those days is I was walking in the big stores. The people decide the world, they know Walmart. Walmart have plant stand, and there was so many plants, flowers, and I'm like, it was February, middle of February, nothing is growing. Plant all is dead except the green, the one they call evergreen. Evergreen is green all the time, but other plants, they're just stripped out of the leaves. You think they're dead. When I saw this plant stand, I'm like, where do they grow this stuff? This is beautiful. So many flowers. I decide looking into it. I check one of them, the label. It says African Valid, and I'm like, I'm taking you home. It was so beautiful. The plant is so small, but they have like it covered with flower. And when plant have flower like that, and it's indoor plant, it's not very easy. It's not like the beginner plant. It's not like someone who have no idea plant. I take home, and when the flower is done, it go down. It go down the dead row. That year, I decided not to pick up another plant. Leave it alone, plant. I leave it. The second year, same thing, same plant stand, same store. I pick up aloe vera. When I came home this time, I look into aloe vera. I go Google, I go YouTube, I start looking what aloe vera, where it's from. Aloe vera grows in Africa, the wild. It's in the wild, you know. That heat. I said, well, I'm not gonna kill this one. This one is impossible. I bring it home. I have it like maybe 2 years. Aloe vera was doing well. It was doing so well. And I went to one day in June. June is the hottest time in Canada. So June, I take the aloe vera and I said, well, you're African. You don't have to stay inside all the time. Let's go. I put outside. Aloe vera, they grow this plant, control area. They grow it in a greenhouse. It have nothing to do like the one in the wild. Have nothing to do with his ancestors, okay? It was completely different. I bring it outside. Aloe vera burn. It burned. Yep. The leaf is burned. They turn into a brown. Long story short, it's dead. I want to take a break from plant. I'm like, I kill already too. I don't want to keep killing them. And then one day my son, which was autism, he brought a little pot. There was tomato plant in it because the school have beds, got growing beds in the yard. So they planted greens and tomatoes and with the kids to get them in this activity. So every student, they give a small pot of tomatoes. And then he said, here, Mom. And I'm like, what is this? And I say, tomato. I'm like, tomato? I remember the tomato my mom used to plant, you know, back from my head and the front of my head. I take the pot. I said we're going to plant it outside. He say, okay. But I have no idea. I have no idea. I planted this corner, which is really shaded. Then I forgot because everybody have to run for life. I have to go work. I got to take her home. I did not have a time to come down outside and look at tomatoes. Tomato moved from where I planted because it's looking for the light. It's looking for a sun. It's just like a grain cover lying all over the ground. One day I saw and I'm like, what? That's a tomato. I remember then I came down, then I saw the fruit. The leaf is smaller than the fruit, but the fruit was eaten by bugs. So I yanked the whole thing and then I toss it out. That day I make a decision. I decide I have to grow tomatoes. I mean, how hard it could be. But before I buy tomatoes and I plant it again, I look into it. I went to YouTube, I went to Google, I, joined some groups, gardening groups. I start looking for information. And then I find it out it's better if you have a bed so you can control what goes in that bed. It's easy to control the weed and stuff. That is that. I went off and I buy 3 beds from online. I set them up. I have the dirt. I put it in there. I was ready for growing tomatoes. I buy a seed. I'm like, I'm not gonna start from plant somebody else grow, because the point I'm trying to make for myself is that seed, that tiny teeny seed, could actually be a huge plant. Some seeds you can't even see it. Like if you put your hand and look at it, it's so tiny and it grows something gigantic. So I'm fascinated that I buy seed, I buy big beef, I buy romaine, I buy cherry tomatoes, which I love so much. I set them up, the beds, and then I plant the seed February. I put at the window. I'm not technician, you know. Some people have like a little greenhouse inside their house. They set up the lights and the table and everything's a set. I can do something like that. Besides, I had a cat. Like this cat was so good. He wasn't getting into the whatever I'm working on it here. He don't touch them. So I have to put the window. I grow the tomatoes to olive seed. I grow them from seed, and before the time was right, I take them out. Yes, I did. I did not look the weather. I didn't have a lot of time. What I was doing was just like someone who don't have a time, the way they do things. Like I say, those days they're very tricky. It's beautiful, but doesn't mean like the cold is done. It doesn't mean that you have to look into it. I did not. I take out this 12 tomatoes, which I started from seed, which I raised them in the house, which I was babysitting them outside. I put them in their bed, I set them up, and I'm like, okay, there it is, all done. So overnight there was frozen rain. 12 tomatoes died. 12 of them, they're dead. They're all gone. It was freezing hell, frozen rain, destroyed them. I didn't give up. I went back to Walmart and I get another 12 tomatoes. I planted them. It was amazing. it was a side to everything else I do, education. I grow the tomatoes, I freeze the tomatoes, I eat the tomatoes, we eat the tomatoes. It was fantastic. The second year of that, what do you think I'm gonna do? I decided planted more seed than I did before. This time I went online and find it out many different tomatoes. I got like brown cherry tomatoes, yellow cherry tomatoes, even one called tiny teeny tomatoes. I plant them all. I planted 21 plant of tomatoes indoor, and then I take them out. This time I look the weather. This time I watch over, right? This time it was right, but it was raining, and I could not find it like a place for all of them. Some of them I bought where the hostess is. Some of them I bought in a container. Some of them because they were way too much. And then the rain, like every week it was raining. Tomatoes need more sunny, but every week was raining. It was raining. The tomatoes have something called a bottom block or something like that. It just it rots. It's still on the plant, but it's rotting. So many of them, I yank them out, they rotted, I throw them out. But again, I have a Blennian too. Just, it was too much. I mean, half of it was gone, but I still have a half of it. It was not too bad. Okay, the year after that, I decided to just plant it 12 plant. Yeah, that's where I start from the beginning. I don't know why I go 21 plant, 12 plant, and then it was really good. The year after that, I planted a six plant, and then I buy another six plant because first I'm like, I'm just gonna grow six, and then when I go to garden center, I'm like, six, no, maybe I should have another six. So that's how I have a 12 plant of tomatoes. The side of that, I grow banana pepper, which grow really well for me. Banana pepper. I cannot grow sweet pepper. It's impossible. I grow hot pepper and banana pepper, Swiss chard. I mean, I go like, I do what I like to eat because it's pointless if you plant everything, which you're not even going to eat. I don't like kale. I like Swiss chard. So that's how I have my garden. I grow the things me and my kids going to enjoy. Now, this year, this year I decide not to grow from seed because I have a little cat now. This one is different than the older cat which passed away. She will get into everything, every business. Whatever I touch, she's touching it. So for that reason, my indoor plant, I have a spider plant and a dragon plant. I put up top. She still wanna go up there. Sometimes she sits down and looks up. She really want to go up there. So for that reason, I didn't really planted any seed. I plant, I buy tomatoes. I believe it is one cherry. Yeah, one cherry. It's called Sunkiss, and 5 romaine because I like the romaine because it's full of a meat, and it's also, I'm not, this one is determined. I was not gonna have to tie them up. It was too hard to tie them up, like the heat. I can't take the heat. The heat is really bad for me. If I feel the heat, I get migraine. So I roll back this year just a 6 plant, romaine plants. I don't need to tie them up except for the cherry when I have one cherry. You know, this is where I want to do things. Not too complicated, not too much struggle, just like a lazy person's things. And day by day, me and plant becoming like closer and closer. This year, my first attention, that apple tree. Apple tree have my attention because I don't want apple tree get eaten by bugs. You know, there's some bugs eat the leaves before even eat fruits or not. And I don't see a flower yet. I don't know what's going on. So I planted, I believe 3 years ago. I also need to write down when do I plant something so I know when did I plant it. There's so many things I need to learn more, and so many things I learn it. So plant is one of those things you run into one time and you don't stop. You don't stop. I remember going into the greenhouse. I wanted to plant front yard something, and I didn't have that much of a time. I asked the greenhouse lady, I said, I want something don't need me, something have nothing to do with me, but it's growing. And she looked at me and she said, well, take hostas and evergreen. She was good. She was smart because those two, they don't need you. You just set them up like a lot of other plants, but those two is the two she told me to do. I set it up and I leave it. So she said when the houses gets really big, divide it and plant it more. That's what I like about gardeners. Gardeners and crocheters, they're people with pure heart, you know. You ask them one question and they tell you the things you didn't even ask them or you don't know them. They just like give you full information of what you're looking for. I think maybe all craft people are like that. I'm not sure. But this gardener, she even gave me like a 3 free plants. And I asked her, like, after few years, I went to her and I asked her something, maybe butterfly likes it, because I kind of like butterfly. And she gave me 3 pots, which was free, and she told me to keep them eye on. 2 of them I already get rid of it. I get rid of it. This year I didn't see any popping up from everywhere, but I still have one. The reason I don't like them is because they're not gonna stay where you planted them. You'll see like everywhere. They're popping up everywhere. And I don't like plant like that, too much work. I like plant to stay where I put it. No moving around, no taking over. Now I have to deal with that mint because I buy a tree and then it have like a tree. It was, I don't know, it was carrying the seed or something. Yeah. So it took over like that bed. There was mint, you know. It's not all bad. I can use them and not let them flower, but it's not something I planted. I didn't plan that because I don't like plant taking over. That is the story of me and the plant. And in the future, hopefully, I will fill this backyard with plant, more planted than grass, because I like them. I like them. Thank you very much for listening. And well, stay tuned. We're learning together. I have no idea. Like, it's not, I'm like the beginner, still, but hopefully I'll get there. Thank you for watching. I put the fruit a little bit the bottom of the bush. I put the goji berry some, the apple some, because I think that's enough. This is all about, you know, do what you can, gardening. I divided 3 manure bags for the tomatoes and the fruit. I put a little bit in the strawberry bed, and I put here some. Most of them I put on the tomatoes, but also I put a little bit on other places too. See? This is a kale. I'm not a kale person. I don't like kale. So, but I like a Swiss chard, right? This bed is a green bed. I planted some seed. I have none yet. I don't see any Swiss chard, but the kale came back. So the leaves, when they're so tiny, it's nice and soft. I don't mind, but I don't like when it overgrows. This one is that tree. On the other side, Japanese plum. It have like new ones always comes out of where the root is. So this one I cut it like, I don't know, 3 years ago, a small twig. Now it's still in a pot. I'm trying to figure it out where to put. Right. This side I have a hostas. There. I have hostas. So this side I wanted to bag ground cover and hostas. That's it. This bed I put 3 tomatoes. That one is a cherry tomatoes. It's called Sun Kiss, something like that, or Sugar Kiss. I don't really remember. Those ones is 2 tomatoes. It is, what it called? Sauce tomatoes. Romaine. It's a romaine. I guess I know why they call sauce tomatoes. This tomatoes is really good. It's full of a meat and it's still water. This one is Basil. Everybody knows basil. I planted every bed, tomato bed. I don't know. It grew last year like a crazy. I had to share like all my neighbors, the next doors. This is a thyme. I think that's Woody is dead, but still alive down there. I guess that's that. This is called Jeff. I like the flower. It's beautiful. I like to add my eggs and yeah, just to use it like here and there. I have it I have it inside 3 beds. It was like one tiny pot, and for years it got really big. So last year I divided like 3 pieces. I put 3 different beds. One in the fruit bed, one is tomato bed, and the other one in here. So that's my garden. It's not very big, but again, I would like to fill it little by little. This is hostas, my favorite plant ever. Hostas is a timeless. You buy one time, you plant it, and then it just gets huge. No complaint, no nonsense. Of course, there is something eat them. Most of it the front yard, and I'll figure that one out. I love hostas, great hostas. I don't have the giant one. I saw like a really giant one, and I hope I get one day. I also have a 2 here. This is a lavender, which I planted like a couple of years ago, the other side. And last year I moved to here. I moved full time here. It's doing well, I guess. This one is a ground cover. I think they call lambs, not lambs here. Huh. I'll tell you next time. I don't really remember. I like this ground cover. I just buy like 4 small pots, and I planted the 4 corners of my yard, and it's spreading very well, and it's beautiful. This is a rose. Last year I had a big flowers, but fall time I cut it down. Now it's still like small. That's the time. I would say everyone have a garden or wanna have it. They have to have a thyme. Thyme is the magical plant. Beautiful flower, spread is so fast, and it's really like eatable, smellable. It's great in my opinion. This one I planted last year. Have a flowers like white daisy flowers. I planted right there. It moved. I think it moved a little bit. I don't know why. Maybe it dropped seed and that seed come back. I think that's why. Thyme. I added this year knockout rose, which I had it very long time ago, but I get rid of it because I have small kids, and this one have a thorn. They have a big thorns, so that's why I didn't want to get into it. I like the flower, but and this is tiny teeny hostas. Here I added very simple water for the bird. My backyard have more bird than plant. They're coming from every corner. All my neighbor next doors, they have this green evergreen bushes. I have them too. So the bird is in there, baby birds every spring. This is hydrangea. I planted last year, so I'm keeping an eye on. I like that flower. It's a huge flower.